What if nest building wasn't just instinct but high art? What if birds weren't just survivors but architects? Sculptors and engineers from deserts to rainforests. Some species build sprawling communal cities. Others sow leaves with silk or tunnel through solid earth with stunning precision. These aren't just nests, they're masterpieces of patience and wild intelligence. Welcome to BBTV Official, where today we travel the world to discover 10 of the most incredible bird nests ever built. And if you love the secret genius of nature, don't forget to subscribe and keep exploring with us. Sociable weaver, Filitarus socius. Beneath the furnace skies of southern Africa, where the sun scorches the savanna and shadows are few, rises a structure so improbable it looks like a haystack hoisted into the acacia trees. This is no accident of nature. It's the colossal nest of the sociable weaver. Known scientifically as Filitarus socius, its name says it all, the social companion. And few birds take companionship more seriously than these master builders. Endemic to the arid grasslands of Namibia, Botswana, and parts of South Africa, sociable weavers are most at home in dry thornveld and scrubby plains, where trees are sparse but sky is endless. Here, survival demands collaboration, and these birds deliver in spectacular fashion. Each weaver is barely 5.5 inches long and weighs under an ounce, dressed in soft brown feathers with scaly markings across the chest. But together, they become architects of one of the largest communal nests in the avian world, structures that can weigh over a ton and last for more than a century. Using dry grasses and twigs, they build a massive thatch structure with multiple chambers, some warm for chilly nights, others ventilated for daytime heat. Dozens, even hundreds, of birds roost here at once, each with its own private entry tunnel. Predators beware. Many entrances are lined with sharp sticks, like a natural security system. Feeding mostly on seeds and insects, sociable weavers forage in groups, combing the ground in synchronized sweeps. Their constant chattering keeps the flock connected, like a living organism humming with purpose. Breeding takes place within the nest itself, where monogamous pairs lay 2 to 6 eggs. Both parents share the duties of incubation and feeding, while extended family members often help raise the chicks, an avian village raising its young under one sprawling roof. As dusk drapes the desert in gold, the giant nest glows softly, a warm hive of feathers and life, defying the emptiness around it. Great bowerbird, Chlamydera nuchales. In the dry savannas and vine-thick woodlands of northern Australia, something strange rises from the forest floor. 2 parallel walls of twigs, neatly arched and aligned like the pillars of a miniature hallway. But this is no nest. It's a stage, a sculpture, a silent invitation. Built by the great bowerbird Chlamydera nuchales, this structure isn't made for shelter, it's made for seduction. Found from the Kimberley to Cape York, this species prefers open, scrubby habitats where light filters in and objects are easy to scavenge. While most birds build for function, the male great bowerbird constructs his bower for flair, precision, and illusion. He's not decorating a nest, he's curating an experience. Measuring about 14 inches long, he's stocky, mostly pale brown, with a hidden crown of shocking pink that flares out like a magician's final flourish. But his real artistry lies in what he collects: bones, shells, bits of glass, white pebbles, and even green plastic. He arranges them in deliberate perspective, from large to small, to trick the female's eye as she approaches the avenue of twigs. Despite the grandeur of the bower, the actual nest is built elsewhere, hidden in a tree and constructed by the female alone. While the male spends weeks perfecting his art installation, she lays and tends to a clutch of up to 3 eggs, crafting a neat bowl of dry leaves and twigs among the branches. In the wild theatre of Australia, the great bowerbird plays director, architect, and performer, his courtship silent but spectacular. As light slips through his gallery of found treasures, a single pink crest flashes, and the show begins. Baya weaver, Socius Filipinus. Golden flashes dart through the rice fields and tall grasses of South and Southeast Asia, each flight carrying not just a bird, but a strand of vision. These are the male Baya weavers, Socius Filipinus, feathered architects whose instinct turns blades of grass into masterpieces of survival and seduction. Their name echoes the Philippines, though they span across India, Bangladesh, and beyond, weaving wonders wherever wetlands and farmlands meet. They prefer open country dotted with acacia trees or palms, where colonies can gather near water. Safety, visibility, and material. These three elements define their ideal building site. And once the rains begin, construction begins. Measuring just 6 inches in length, males wear a bright yellow crown in breeding season, like tiny kings with straw in their beaks. But their courtship isn't sung, it's built. Using strips of grass, palm fiber, and even threads from nearby villages, the male crafts a pendulous nest that hangs like a lantern from the tip of a swaying branch. He weaves tight, looping knots with his beak, forming a hollow bulb with a narrow entrance tube facing downward, designed to ward off snakes and rival birds. He may build several prototypes, each one a display of skill. Only when a female inspects and approves does the final structure become home. She lays 2 to 4 eggs inside the inner chamber, and together, the pair protects their future from heat, rain, and predation. By the time the chicks hatch, the nest has weathered storms and wind, swaying but never breaking. Hanging like a living ornament against the green, the Baya weaver's nest is more than shelter. It's a testament in grass to patience, precision, and the quiet art of devotion. Pendolin Ti, Remes pendolinus. Wind stirs the willows along a quiet European riverbank, and from a distance, something sways like a tear-shaped fruit suspended from a branch. But this is no fruit. It's a nest, soft as felt and strong as silk, crafted by the Pendolin Ti. Remes pendolinus, a name that whispers of fine threads and delicate work, is a master of suspended architecture, weaving homes that seem to float between earth and sky. This species ranges across southern and central Europe, stretching into Western Asia and parts of North Africa. It favors wetlands, reed beds, and waterside trees, places where overhanging branches provide both building materials and the perfect anchor for a nest. Tiny in size, just 4 inches long and weighing less than 1/3 of an ounce, the Pendolin Ti is subtle in plumage, soft gray, pale underparts, and a signature black mask over the eyes, but its nest is where it reveals its genius. Using plant fibers, spider silk, and downy seeds, the bird weaves a hanging pouch with a narrow entrance on the side, often hidden by a tiny flap like a secret door. Nest building can take over 2 weeks, with the male or female working alone, depending on the pairing. Once finished, the result resembles a miniature felt purse, complete with insulation, camouflage, and rain-shedding curves. Inside, 5 to 8 speckled eggs rest on a bed of softness, warmed by just one attentive parent, since the other often departs after building or mating. Food is gathered close by, insects, larvae, and spiders plucked from leaves or snapped mid-air. When the wind picks up again, the nest rocks gently, light enough to dance, strong enough to hold a family. In the quiet elegance of this cradle, nature balances artistry and instinct with astonishing grace. Common Tailor bird, Orthodamus sutorius. Sunlight filters through the canopy of a tropical garden, and somewhere in the green tangle, 2 leaves have been sewn together, not by wind or time, but by beak and instinct. Within that stitched fold lies the hidden world of the common tailor bird. Orthodamus sutorius, its name drawn from Latin meaning straight-cut tailor, is both artisan and architect, crafting one of nature's most intricate leaf cradles. Found across South and Southeast Asia from India to the Philippines, this tiny bird favors gardens, thickets, and scrublands where broad leaves grow low and flexible. It doesn't need vast forests, just a bit of shade, sowing material, and a well-chosen leaf to transform into a nursery. Measuring only 5 inches from beak to tail, the Tailor bird is a fluttering ember of energy, olive green above, pale below, with a rust-colored crown and an upright tail that flicks like a metronome. But its most extraordinary trait is not its call or color. It's what it builds. The female begins by piercing the edges of a large leaf or two with her beak, not cutting all the way through. She threads plant fiber or spider silk through each tiny hole, drawing the edges together in loops, just like a needle pulling thread. Once the leaf forms a curled pocket, she lines the inner chamber with cottony down or soft grass. Inside this hidden pouch, she lays 2 to 4 eggs and tends them alone, her mate standing guard nearby. The stitched leaf holds firm through storms and heat, moving gently in the wind, part of the tree, yet hiding a heartbeat. Somewhere between art and survival, the Tailor bird's nest hums with quiet precision, a green seam in the fabric of the wild. Oven bird, Filipinus rufus. Red earth hardens under the South American sun, and from that very soil, a dome begins to rise, rounded, reddish, and unmistakably crafted. This is the work of the oven bird, Filipinus rufus, whose name comes from Latin, baker of the furnace. And true to its title, this bird bakes its nest from mud, one layer at a time. Native to Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, and Paraguay, the oven bird thrives in open savannas, farmlands, and forest edges. It prefers fence posts and low tree branches as foundations, not hidden among foliage but proudly exposed, as if to say, "This home was made to be seen." About 7 inches long, the bird wears a warm cloak of cinnamon-brown feathers, with a paler chest and a bold white eyebrow. Its appearance is humble, but its construction skills are anything but. When nesting season begins, the pair gets to work, collecting mud, grass stems, and fibers. They mold the structure like potters, building a spherical oven with thick walls and a curved side entrance. Inside, a clay partition separates the entry tunnel from the brood chamber, shielding the eggs from wind and predators. Once complete, the nest hardens in the sun like ceramic, often lasting years and reused by owls, wrens, or kestrels after the oven birds move on. The female lays 2 to 4 eggs, and both parents share incubation and feeding duties. Their duet-like whistles echo across fields as they guard the nest in shifts, patient and vigilant. Baked by sun and sculpted by instinct, the oven bird's nest stands as a monument to cooperation, an earthen fortress raised from dust where life is warmed into being. Mallee fowl, Lepoa ocellata. Dust swirls across the Australian outback, where dry leaves crackle underfoot and termite mounds rise like forgotten monuments. In this arid landscape, a strange hill catches the light, not built by wind or reptile, but by the Mallee fowl, Lepoa ocellata, one of Earth's most remarkable avian engineers. Its name nods to the dry mallee scrub it inhabits and the eyed spots that freckle its plumage like grains of sun-baked sand. Endemic to southern Australia, this elusive bird prefers low, shrubby woodland where shade is sparse and predators roam. But it doesn't flee danger, it buries its future in it. Roughly the size of a small chicken, about 24 inches long and up to 5.5 pounds, the Mallee fowl wears a mottled cloak of brown, black, and cream, blending seamlessly with leaf litter. What sets it apart isn't its call or color, but its monumental nest. Each year, the male scrapes out a deep pit, filling it with decaying vegetation, sand, and soil, until a dome several feet tall begins to rise. This massive compost heap generates heat as it decomposes, and he tends it daily. adding or removing sand to regulate the internal temperature to exactly 91 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Perfect for egg incubation. No sitting required. The female lays up to 30 eggs across the season, each one buried and left to develop in this self-heating mound. Chicks hatch fully feathered and dig their way out alone, emerging into the world without ever meeting their parents. Under the sun-scorched scrub, the Mallee fowl has turned decay into a cradle, an ancient strategy where fire and earth do the brooding, and instinct carries the next generation to light. Cliff swallow, Petrochelidon pyranota. Sunlight grazes the face of a canyon wall, and just beneath the overhang, dozens of bulbous shapes cling like earthen lanterns. These are not relics or ruins, but living homes, mud nests built by the cliff swallow, Petrochelidon pyranota, one of nature's most devoted communal architects. Its name, drawn from Greek and Latin roots, speaks of stone and flame, a bird of cliffs and warm hues, perfectly suited for sunlit rock. Found across North America, from Alaska to Argentina during migration, cliff swallows favor steep vertical surfaces, natural cliffs, bridges, barns, anywhere mud is plentiful and space allows for colonies to flourish. Where one nest appears, hundreds often follow. Measuring about 5.5 inches in length, these swallows flash chestnut throats, pale underbellies, and steel blue backs as they zigzag through the air. But their most astonishing behavior unfolds on the wall, not in flight, but in construction. Using their beaks like trowels, they gather hundreds, sometimes thousands, of mouthfuls of wet mud. Over days, they mold a gourd-shaped chamber with a narrow neck, plastered tightly to stone or concrete. The result is a hardened shell, weatherproof and predator-resistant. In large colonies, these nests cluster tightly together, forming dense honeycomb-like cities that buzz with activity. Inside, the female lays 3 to 6 eggs, and both parents share brooding duties. Fledglings peek from the narrow opening, chirping for food as their parents swoop back and forth with insects caught mid-air. When seen from afar, the colony resembles a village frozen mid-flight, each nest a capsule of warmth, hunger, and preparation. As evening shadows stretch across the canyon, hundreds of wings beat homeward, returning to the cradles carved from dust and devotion. Long-tailed tit, Agathalos caudatus. Drifting like a cotton puff through the hedgerows of Europe and Asia, the long-tailed tit, Agathalos caudatus, appears almost weightless, its tiny body carried on a tail nearly twice its length. The genus name, derived from Greek, translates to goat-like, a curious nod to its soft, woolly plumage rather than anything caprine. But it's not just the bird that's delicate. Its nest is among the most intricate, elastic, and enchanting in the avian world. This species thrives in woodlands, thickets, and gardens from the British Isles to Japan. Its presence is often betrayed by a chorus of high-pitched tsetse calls, echoing like whispers through the underbrush. But to truly know this bird, follow it to its nest. Measuring only 5.5 inches long, half of which is tail, the long-tailed tit wears a mix of black, white, and rose-tinged feathers, like a brushstroke come to life. When nesting, a pair will spend up to 3 weeks weaving an enclosed dome from over 2,000 tiny components. Moss for structure, spider silk for flexibility, and hundreds of feathers for lining. Lichen camouflages the outer wall, making the whole nest look like a natural growth on the branch. The interior is so elastic it can expand as chicks grow, sometimes up to 8 to 12 nestlings sharing the same soft womb. Both parents incubate the eggs and, in an extraordinary twist, are often joined by helpers, unrelated males from failed nests, who feed and protect the young. By dusk, the dome glows from within, feathers catching the last light. Suspended in the shadows, the nest hums with life, a silken orb stitched together by patience, partnership, and the quiet magic of family. Flamingo, Phoenicopterus rosius. Shallow lakes shimmer under a pale sun, and through the haze a sea of pink legs stirs the mud like brushes on canvas. Standing tall and statuesque among hundreds, the greater flamingo, Phoenicopterus rosius, crafts its nest not in secret, but in full view, rising from the very earth it feeds upon. Its name, drawn from the Latin for crimson-winged, reflects both its striking plumage and its bold presence in landscapes where life seems improbable. This species is widespread, found across southern Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and parts of South Asia. It thrives in salty lagoons, alkaline lakes, and tidal flats, habitats so extreme they often exclude predators, but not the flamingo. Towering up to 5 feet tall with a wingspan nearing 60 inches, the greater flamingo is a marvel of balance and beauty. Its blush-pink feathers, elongated neck, and backward-bending legs seem almost surreal, but what truly defines it is the nest. A cone of hardened mud, sculpted by the bill, not the feet. Males and females take turns piling mud into a mound up to 12 inches high. The elevation protects the single egg from flooding, overheating, and trampling by thousands of nearby neighbors. The top is hollowed into a shallow cup where the egg rests, centered like a pearl. Both parents share incubation, using their curved bills to add mud or adjust the nest's shape, even as the chick hatches. Days later, the gray fluffball tumbles down from its pedestal to join a creche, an enormous daycare watched by a few adults while parents forage. Scattered across barren flats, these earthen towers look like volcanoes on pause, each one pulsing with life, each built by love, billstroke by billstroke. From mud and feathers to silk and stone, bird nests are more than shelters. They're blueprints of instinct shaped by need, refined by time and powered by a quiet brilliance that rivals our own. We've seen cities in the desert, hammocks in the treetops, leaf stitches, tunnels, towers, and floating islands. Each nest tells a story of survival, creativity, and connection passed from beak to beak across generations. So the next time you walk beneath a tree or glance across a lake, look a little closer. There might be a masterpiece hanging above you if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden architecture of nature. Don't forget to subscribe to BBTV Official and stay with us as we keep uncovering the wildest wonders of the world.